Hello teachers, today let's talk about money. In this video, I'm going to share how much money I made as a new teacher on iTalki in my first 6 months on the platform. I'm going to give you some tips on how to make money on iTalki in your first few months on the platform, and I'm also going to talk about how your experience may be a little bit different from my experience. So with that being said, hit the subscribe button and let's get cracking. First things first, let's address the elephant in the room. I don't feel too awkward talking about money, but I get that it's a little bit personal. At the same time, I know that it's very helpful for people to be realistic when they start any new job, and knowing what the pay is one of the most important aspects. Perhaps you've checked out my video where I talk about how much money I made throughout a year on iTalki. Since then, I've gotten a request to actually talk about how much money I made as I got started on the platform. So without coming across as arrogant or braggadocious, I'd like to share this with you today. All right, teachers, let's get started. So first of all, let me talk about how I got paid on iTalki when I first got started. So you get paid every 2 weeks. I started off with PayPal, getting paid through PayPal. You could also get paid through Payoneer, which is the option I choose now, or you could get paid straight to your bank account. So I made the switch from PayPal to Payoneer basically because Payoneer for me took a smaller cut, and that just allowed me to transfer more money over to my bank. So that's basically what happens. Every 2 weeks, iTalki allows you to put in a withdrawal request, which means that all the money that you've made by that point gets put into this bucket where it's ready to be withdrawn over to PayPal or Payoneer or your bank account, right? So from there, I find that it takes about 5 to 10 days for it actually to be sent over to PayPal or Payoneer. And then after that, it takes another couple days to be sent over to your bank account. So in other words, if you get started on February the 1st and you get your first paycheck on February 14th, you have a request withdrawal. That withdrawal will probably actually come into effect and be sent to your PayPal or Payoneer on give or take February 21st, 22nd, and actually get to your bank account, if this is the route you take, on maybe the 24th or 25th or even later. So this could be useful for you to know, just so that you don't freak out like I did, because I expected it to be like an automatic process and to just get the money straight away on that day. Instead, it will take about 10 days for it to actually go through. This could be a little bit annoying. Another option that you could take is the express withdrawal, which I guess it's all in the name, that it will be a little bit faster for you to get your money to your PayPal or Payoneer. But honestly, I just put up with it and wait the extra few days for everything to process. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just based on my experience. All right, so now let's talk about how much money I got paid in my first few months on the platform. I'm going to tell you each paycheck I got paid, and I'm going to go in pairs, right? So basically, every 2 paychecks is 1 month on iTalki. So in total, I'll be throwing out 12 numbers so that you know how much I got paid in the first 6 months. Let's go. All right, guys, so the first 2 paychecks, I got paid $305 and then $270. So give or take just shy of $600 USD in the first month on iTalki. This was December of 2019. So to finish the new year, I got paid $600 USD on iTalki. From there, in the first month of 2020, January of 2020, I got paid $720 and then $1,000 for a grand total of $1,720. This was the most that I would make for a few months afterwards, because in this month I really worked hard. I put in a lot of hours. I actually burnt out in this month and I had to cut my availability down a little bit. So, you know, the proof is in the pudding. Recently, I have made a video talking about losing your new teacher badge and what that means after your first month on iTalki. For me, my second month, January of 2020, was financially the most successful month that I had in my first year or so on the platform. So that is just living proof right there that it could be the same for you ideally, and after your new teacher badge is gone, you could still be successful on the platform. All right, month number 3, my 2 paychecks were $570 and then $750, right? So about $1,300 in total. After that, $620 followed by $570, right? So again, it slipped back a little bit from January, but February and March were still good months. And actually, one of the reasons why I made a little bit lower is because of the fact that I began learning on iTalki. So some of the money that I would have made as a teacher was actually transferred to my student wallet. And April of 2020, we all remember this month. This is when the pandemic really started to, shut things down. And I dove right into language learning in those months. More money was transferred over from my teacher account to my student account. So for that reason, I made $460 and $400, so a total of about $860 in April. And then in May, I made a total of about $700. So during that time, I'd say on average, I was teaching about 15 hours per week, right? Maybe as much as 20. My price was still quite low for my classes, but I'd say that this was, given my lifestyle and the cost, everything I had to pay for, I was quite happy with how much I was able to make in my first 6 months on iTalki. Now, how could things be different for you? Well, in your experience, you may be from a completely different demographic, a different nationality, a different age group than I am from, and that may affect how much you're able to make on the platform. You may be a community tutor rather than a professional teacher. That may make a difference as well, right? So these are things to keep in mind for sure. Another thing to keep in mind is the fact that I got started in 2019, at the end of 2019, and things are a bit different now. I know there are more teachers on iTalki and it's very competitive, so that may make a difference. However, from those of you who I've met with and have had consultations with, I know that a lot of teachers have been very successful on the platform. So my suggestion, not just to iTalki teachers, but any online ESL teachers who are self-employed and trying to get started, keep pushing, because the beginning could be a little bit rough, but after you get started, it could really begin to build and you could get the bookings that you want. So I hope that these videos were helpful. Even though I talk about money, I do this for absolutely free. If you would like to support the channel, please head on over to my Patreon account and consider becoming a patron. You could get access to many low cost or even free resources for just $1 a month. Aside from that, as usual, hit the subscribe button. And finally, let me know your story. How has this year been so far for you? Have you found that January has been successful so far? Or is it not as prosperous as you would have hoped? Let us know and tell us what your experience has been like in your first few months teaching on the platform. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, keep smiling.